everyone, welcome back. So I thought I'd just do a real quick, like all of the head together video so that it's a little bit less confusing since we did each one week by week. Okay, so I'm gonna do a bigger one and then I'll just put this under extras. And then we're also going to be talking about breaking down the body. Okay, so the first thing I did was pick out my head shape. I decided mine is more of an oval. Maybe this time I'll do more of a circle head shape. Okay, so you can start with the whole outline, but I find it easiest to start with a circle up top for the skull. Okay. And it's okay to like sketch and make multiple lines. I just gotta fix this up real quick. It's hard to do circles sideways. Okay. So starting with a circle and then going in and adding in the jaw, right? So like this top part of my head would be more of the circle and then adding in the jaw. All right, so for more of a circular head and less of like an oval head where it came down further, right? My circle, whoops, on this one ended like right up here, and then I added in this longer jaw. I'm gonna do a shorter jaw. So it's gonna come down from the sides of my circle, and it's gonna angle kind of inwards. And then it's gonna come down to the chin. All right, so it kind of curves right there for the jawline. All right, so a smaller head. Right, I need to switch out my eraser. That one is at the end of its life. Okay, so once you have that part sketched out, I like to just erase the part of the circle that overlaps. Right, those extra lines inside of the head. And then okay, so then I have my head outline. I'm going to make it a little bit darker so you guys can see it better. Okay, so then we find that halfway down point. I'm going to put a line right there. That's where the eyes will end up going. I cut that one in half, and I put a line across. That's how far down my nose would come. And then I cut that bottom part in half again. It doesn't have to be perfectly in half. That's about where my lips would go. Then up in here, we cut that top part in half. Okay, and that would be the hairline. Okay, so you can move it a little bit up from there, but I wouldn't move it down much further. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll start off where we left last time, which is hair, right? So when you have hair, let's go ahead, we'll do a boy this time. And this right here is going to be where the ears go. So no, we'll go in the same order we went in last time. Okay, so right in here are going to be the eyes, right? So I have like this curve right here, and a curve right here. Actually, those are really wide eyes. I'm going to move them a little bit closer together. And a curve right there. Okay, that's better. Okay. So coming down underneath that, I do a circle that cuts off at the top. Here, I'll move this closer. For the iris. Which is the colored part of the eye. Okay. In nice relaxed eyes, it kind of cuts off that top part of the iris, right? Unless they're like surprised, you don't really see that white above it. All right. So a little bit cut off at the top. And then it angles down right there. And you can leave it like that. Or you could add in just a little line down here, floating just below. Leave it like that. You can have it come up and, you know, like connect. Erase my extra lines. Erase this line that I drew across. Okay. So some big eyes. Inside of that, I do a smaller circle for my pupil. I like to keep a little dot in there, and you can even have like that dot overlap the pupil and the eye. Mine's more of like a comma-ish shape. Alright, the pupil, that middle part that you see out of, would be dark. And then we would have lines that come around from the outside. Then I like to do some lines going around from the inside, kind of like rays on a sun, but really short and close together. And if you want, you can just lightly color, lightly at the top, like the top half of your iris to give a little shading too, but you don't have to. Okay, there's my eye. You could add in some eyelashes. I'm going to do the same thing over on this side. I like to press down just a little bit harder around the outside of the iris. Make it a little bit darker. And lines from the outside. And then from the inside. Trying to angle this so you guys can see. And then a little bit of shading in that top part. Okay, just that little bit takes it even further. I'm going to thicken it up. Okay. I'm going to make my eyelashes a little bit thicker. There we go. Alright, then you have your eyelid, which is just like another little line that floats right above. And then just above that, you have your eyebrows, right? Usually the eyebrows come up and curve around. Right towards the middle here, the little hairs stick more like up, and then as they go, they angle towards the side. Add in some little hairs. Okay. I'm doing this all like upside down and sideways, so hopefully it looks decently proportionate. Alright, so I have my eyes, and I ended up doing my eyes like right on that line. It's at the top of the eyes where your ear could start, right? So, and then I'm going to do the bottom part of my nose, which I personally just do as like a wide V shape. If you want, you could leave it like that. You could do a little shadow underneath it. Remember, we talked about all kinds of different ways that we could draw noses. You can get pretty creative with noses, and even just like something as simple as that makes it look more like a nose. Right? A lot of times I'll have like a little bit of a line that comes up. You can have it angle in if you want for the bridge of the nose. You could bring it all the way down with like a little bump and shade in half of the nose. You can add in the nostrils, which are like C's on the end. Oh, excuse me. Yes, the nostrils. And you can do those little openings by doing like little loops on the end. Right, you can do all kinds of stuff, but it's going to be that length between the halfway and then cutting that halfway in half. Then with my lips, if you wanted to, you could do two ovals next to each other and then like one big oval down in the middle. That's another way that you can figure out the shape of the lip. I'm going to have mine kind of upturned to look like smiling. Alright, so if you guys can kind of see that, it's like a Cupid's bow. Erase those. Okay, so I have some lips. You can do some shading, which is just like little bits right around the opening or like a little bit inside. Okay, whoops. Then on the sides here we have our ears, which come out and down. You could do that little like half circle at the top. You could add in a little bit of shading if you wanted to. And then the hair, right? So boys and girls, you could do, you find out the partition line, which is where your hair parts, right? So say my person's hair parts on the side over here. So you could do like an oval that comes down right there. And remember, your hair is going to come below that headline, the scalp, and a little bit above as well. All right, and then I would have another oval, which would partly cover up my eyes here, actually. I'm going to come down that way. Sorry. Keep slipping. Okay, so that's a good way to kind of split up where those are supposed to go. And then you can go in and have it either be smooth, or you can add in some zigzags to make it look more more like they're strands of hairs. Remember too, your hair comes down just a little bit in front of your ear right here, right? So I'm gonna get rid of these extra lines in here so you can see what I did. And I'm gonna have this meet up a little bit more right in here, so it's closer to my line for my hair. Okay. Right, and you can even have just like extra hairs that come down. So like, I'm gonna come down. And maybe I'll like make a little opening in there. I don't know. Anyway. Okay. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to have the hair come down. And then up in here, I'm going to have my hair come up and out. Maybe a couple little extra strands. And then you can have it come down on the sides. You know, if you're a boy, you can do the zigzags up here and have it be that short. Right, kind of like where it sticks out like so. But then you can have it come down, you know, on the sides. Don't forget about the neck, right? It ends just inside of that jawline and kind of has a little bit of a curve to it. This neck's going to be a little bit longer. That's okay. And then for your hair, in order to give it more texture, right, I like to kind of define that partition line a little bit more. And then we're going to have some lines that come out from that part. Some will be shorter, some will be longer. Now all along that part where the hair grows. And then the hair back here kind of tucks behind the ear a little bit. So I'm going to have some lines that come up from behind the ear of where that like area of hair ends. You can even do these lines up in here a little bit thicker to make it darker and more defined. Okay. Right, so some short ones and some longer ones. Now I have more that come up from behind my ear. And down in there. And then where it starts again on the other side of the ear, you would have some of those lines come down. And, you know, inside the hair you can have like chunks like that. You can have, you know, shorter ones, like thinner ones. Maybe I have, you know, this little bit come out over here. And then I just add in a whole bunch of lines in order to give it that texture, right? Lines. I'll do the same thing over on this side. So I have some like this that comes down. And I'll have this little piece of hair that comes right in here. Some more that goes out behind it and down. Some hair that comes down in here. Have some coming down from in here. Also with your neck, if you want, you could add in just a little shadow underneath it, underneath like your chin, just by pressing down so soft. When you're shading too, you could also take like your finger and rub it in to make it look more smooth and blended. If you want to do shading in the face, don't shade the whole face, okay? Usually with shading in the face, there's a little bit like right on those cheekbones, right in here, right? So just super, super lightly, you can have just a little tiny bit right on the sides, right here. Or you could do, it's almost like a teardrop shape or like an L for that dip in right above your lips, where you know you have your nose. You could do a little bit of shading underneath your lip if you wanted, right? Just here and there shading, but not like the whole face shading. Or you could do some shading like right underneath the hairline. Right, and I only bring up the shading because I had my 10-year-old try this out, and he wanted to like shade the whole face, right? So I find it best instead of doing the whole face to just do those key areas where there's a little bit more of a shadow, because if you do the whole face, it kind of takes away from it. Or you could do a a little bit of shading, you know, right in here, a little bit like right over here, right on that like corner of your eyes. Okay, right above the eye. All right, and then the very last thing I want to do is, usually I end up making my eyes really dark, so just kind of redefining the lines of your face, pressing down just a little bit harder to make those a little bit darker and cleaner lines so it's more defined. Okay, so maybe like my nose, my lips, and the outside of my hair. My neck. I'm gonna get right in here. A little bit better. Right over here. Just kind of darken that up. Okay. Woo. All right. So there is, you know, just a quick sketch. You also, on your collarbone right here, you have like a little bit of an indent. If you have a really long neck and you feel like it looks weird, you could add in just that little like indent, like a little V, or actually it's curved, right? So you could add that in and then kind of rub on it to soften it. Or you could have it, you know, curve out, kind of like the Cupid's bow, because then your collarbone, this right here, right, it dips in and then it kind of juts out right there, and then it follows along to your shoulders, right? So it goes right across here. Now, a lot of doing like the body is just a lot of understanding of your joints and how your body works. All right, so you guys are gonna learn just a tiny bit of anatomy today, and I am not going to use the actual anatomical terms, so don't quote me. But just a quick overview of drawing a face. All right, so it's just all together. Okay, and if you missed them, to break them down even more, definitely check out those weekly videos. And let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay, it was good to see you. Have a good day.